I said, baby, can I talk to you for a moment? Seems like I'm really feeling kind of lonely. Yeah. No, I can't wait to see you again. Oh, baby, tired of looking back on all the mistakes. Being on my own ain't worth the heartache. Trying to find my way right back to you. Ooh, I would walk 1,000 miles just to get to you. Walk the oceans, cross the desert if you want me to. Ain't no mountain high or valley low. Your love's the only thing I know. Here I come, baby, right back to your loving arms. Oh, loving arms. Woo. I said, baby, 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 can't sleep without you here beside me. Woman, I need your love to guide me. You know how to ease my troubled mind. Oh, I said, lady, 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 lady. When you look at me, girl, I believe it. You'll never know it's love until you feel it. Gonna be with you till my dying day. Woo. I would walk 1,000 miles just to get to you. I walk 1,000 miles. The oceans, cross the desert if you want me. Anything to get to you. Ain't no mountain high or valley low. Your love's the only thing I know. Here I come, baby. Here I come, baby. Right back to your loving arms. Should have told you before. I'll always love you. I'll always love you. All my heart and soul. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Woo, that song was touching me just now. Hello, everybody. Welcome. That is Facebook. Of course, we have no copyrights. That is about Liberian artist Banja Carter. Baby, Banja Carter can sing that song. All right, so we want to welcome all of you here. Please share. This is going to be a very wonderful, interesting, learning time for all of us here this evening. We have some very important people that we're going to be talking to. I always say whenever I have an opportunity to come on, because I'm important, I only talk to important people, and that makes the show very important. So you don't want to miss it. Husbands, please come. Wives, please come. Boyfriends, please come. Girlfriends, please come. Please share the show. This evening, we're going to be talking about cheating in a relationship and the impacts it has. Let me just first say this caveat. We are not relationship experts. We have experiences. We know good from bad. We know evil from good. And so we decided to discuss this topic that tends to be a taboo in most homes, a taboo in most relationships. People don't want to face that people do cheat. Men cheat and also women. So cheating in a relationship can be deeply emotional. And it oftentimes is a complex issue that rests on trust. People cheat either because they don't trust one another. People cheat because they have bad communication or they have no communication at all. And some people cheat because their needs are not being met. They have different needs. Everybody have different needs. There are varying reasons as to why people cheat. And that's why we're here this evening. We want to talk about it. And then also people cheat because of personal issues, but you don't want to alleviate the fact that everyone has a choice between good and evil, between right and wrong, and people make different choices based on what their situation is. It's not just about the cheating is also not about a physical betrayal, but it's also an emotional betrayal. Whether you're married or you're single, if you're in a relationship, the intent is that you all are going to be faithful or committed to one another. Once someone steps outside of that relationship and cheats, it becomes an emotional breakdown, emotional problem for everybody. So as we go into this conversation this evening, we have four people that I'm going to bring on now. We have one giant with us. we have a giant with us who is braving this storm to come on. So tonight we're going to be talking about healthy relationships. We're going to be talking about what we perceive that cheating does, and what we think people should do, and how can we, whether there's a possibility to even save relationship if a spouse or a partner has been caught cheating. So let's start the show. I'm going to bring on I bring on the ladies first, and then I'll bring on the gentleman. So I'll bring on our first guest, Ina May King, Jones King. Welcome, Ina May.
Good evening, Glendy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So let me just bring on. I don't see Janet on the screen. She's off right now. We can bring Janet on when she comes. But let me bring the Lone Ranger here tonight with all these women who is saying, I'm coming out there and I'm going to talk about this. Cisse, my brother, is here. Welcome.
Thank you. We only got protest. As the clip was playing, I was counting how many women pictures were shown versus men. So we really got a protest of bias, but it's nice to be on.
Thank you, Cisse, for doing this. And let me just bring Jande on now. So we have our team. Welcome, Jande.
Good evening. Hello, hello.
Hello. It's good to have all of you to do this. And we hope that we can continue this periodically, because we also want to look at social issues in the family. We want to be able to get into a space where we're talking about different things that different people will face. The interesting thing here tonight, let me just say to everybody watching, I am not married, but I'm here tonight with married people. Got it? So let me just get that off the back first before we start. So let me start with Ina May first to tell us a little bit. We'll do a little intro. Each of you, just tell a little bit about who you are, where you are in your relationship, and just something that our audience watching will know. And if you're watching, please share this podcast. We want all of us to learn. I will also be watching the live feed, and if you have questions for any one of these guests, make sure, don't ask me any question. I already not tell you, and I'm married. So yes, ask a question. All right, let's start with you, Ina May.
So my name is Ina May Jones King. I am married, but I think defining cheating goes beyond the bridge between two people. Cheating redefines what we think about commitment, how we think about commitment. And so for me, I'm going to take my personal feelings out of this discussion. And I'm going to try to be more objective and focus on the damages that however we define cheating does. I think we will not serve anybody if we spend an hour rehashing our past hurts and everything else. So I think for me, I think we will serve people better if we try to put this whole thing into perspective. Because, and I know they're gonna get on me, but I think in the Liberian society, that issue has been so ingrained in the society that we as Liberians don't look at it objectively. We think it's the way of life. Yes, any and everybody can cheat, but let's talk about the damages it
Yes,
does.
definitely. So let's go to Jeanne, introduce it. Let me just say here, people already started commenting. I want to specifically respond to one comment here saying, not married, but what advice you're going to give. So I'd like to let you know that I was married for 29 unbroken years, but I'm not married now. Jeanne, introduce yourself, please.
And that's why I said let's talk about commitment.
Yes.
Because you don't have to be married to be in
but you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
Relationship is not the conversation here tonight is not just for married people. The conversation is about cheating in a relationship. So you can be in a boyfriend girlfriend relationship and you cheat. You can be a couple, but you can also be like me who's divorced and who also experienced that and can have some experience. Y'all don't come for me tonight, I tell you.
We won't let it happen anyway. We won't let it happen. Good evening, everyone. My name is John Day Freeman Brewer, and so yes, I am married. I've been married. I think I'm going on year 16 or 17. I don't even know at this point anymore. But thank you, Glendy, for letting me be on this platform. I'm here to share experiences. I'm here to listen. I'm here to learn, and I'm here to be objective, like Inna May said. And we're going to discuss this in depth. We're not everybody's not going to agree with what we say, and that's okay. We're here to speak on our truth and we're here to share experiences. And so I'm excited. Let's get this ball rolling.
Thank you. Now let's talk to this very strong giant here who's here with us. My brother Sissy is here. Sissy, tell us just a little bit about you and then we'll go into the discussion.
Yeah, it's actually good to be on. I'm going to learn from both Jandy and Anime by saying that we're going to provide perspectives and try to maybe sometimes bring our own historical context, but try to be as balanced as possible. I joke around a lot, but this subject is very important. I'm stepping out of my usual thing for meaning the politics and the math thing to do this because this is really important. I am currently married, 11 years in now, and anybody who follows me on Facebook sees that I don't hide it. I am proudly married and in a committed monogamous relationship.
Woo! See why I said that, man? I strong
as you should be. As you should be.
Yes.
That's right.
And it's supposed to be a choice. And I think that's where a lot of people make mistakes. It should be a choice.
Okay.
We should all have the opportunity to choose to be in a monogamous, committed relationship, which I have done, Jande have done, and anybody have done, but people don't give other people those choices.
Yes. So let's go directly into it. I think we've touched on it a little bit. We'll try to circumvent questions here. We may not ask everybody to respond, but if there's a question that is given to one person and someone else wants to chime in, we'll certainly do that because we want to be able to ask enough questions, but also to see what are the bad and how can we learn and how can we build healthy relationships so that we're not saying, oh, cheating is bad and we do nothing about it and we don't suggest some ways to go about it. So let me start with Sissy. The first question here is, what would you consider as cheating in a relationship setting? We're not talking somebody already saying, what is cheating in America? What is cheating in Africa? No, what is cheating in a relationship? That's what we're talking about. So we're going to say.
I think it's almost like when I was thinking about this whole cheating thing, my mind went back to my classroom. When I say my student is cheating, when I say I caught a student cheating, what does that mean? It means they've broken an understood agreement that if a teacher says we're all taking a test and it's open book test, and you open your book, you're not cheating. If a teacher says we're taking a test and the test is not open book and you open a book, you're cheating because there is an agreed protocol that you've broken. And so whether in Liberia or in an African setting or in America, once the folks in the relationship have an agreed understanding, whether it's open, close, 1-to-1, 1-to-500, whatever it is, once you have that understanding, if you step outside of that understanding, if you breach that contract, you've cheated. And let me just say this, cheating is not always almost about the emotional, physical, right? It can be about you hiding money, you hiding your health information from your partner. Those are cheating. Because if you are going to take somebody and say, we're together, you're sharing with me, I'm sharing with you. And if I stop sharing with you and create a war and start sharing with somebody else, I'm cheating. So for me, that's how I look at cheating from that academic point is you have an understanding with somebody or a group of people on these are the norms of the relationship that we're in. If you breach those norms, you're cheating.
All right. So we can give at least 30 seconds each, Johnny or Ina May, if you want to add to what Cece has said. Cece has said. Or if you're good with what he said, then we'll move on.
I mean, I totally agree, but you know, it is a commitment, is a vow, is an agreement, and it's not just physical or sexual. It can be everything that he said, and understanding that you you did it by choice, right? You did it by choice. It's not something that was agreed upon because when you're in a relationship, it's a committed relationship, it's a companionship. You're in it together. So once you mentally are not there anymore and you're sharing intimate information or your feelings and your dreams and your hopes and your aspirations with somebody else other than your partner, that also constitutes cheating.
All right.
Exactly. I agree with everything they both have said, but I do want to add that that's what I was saying when I said it's the matter of choice. If I say I'm a Christian and you say you're a Christian, when we decide to make this commitment, to do this contract, there are guidelines, as Cisse said, that guide that contract. And that contract says one man, one woman, and this, and this, and this. And I decided, fine, I want to sign your contract. If you were a Muslim, or if you were under the traditional, whatever you want to call it, and you told me, said, look, I'm married, but I can marry. I want to marry you, but I'm allowed to marry 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 different women. Then I would say, well, that one don't work for me. And I would carry my load.
Yep.
But
So
it's the matter of choice.
yes. So we're
And
hearing.
rather quick before we go to the next something topic or question. Another thing is if like Ina may say, if you're in those type of traditional relationship where it is known, right? The person has the choice. If you say, okay, I'm in a relationship or I'm Muslim and my tradition say I have to marry 10 wives, and you go and approach another woman and you're open so telling her that, and she decides to marry you while you got 10 other wives, then now her business. Oh, she pick up her own child and her own load. She might not come back and complain about it. So that's the other piece to that too. Okay? Giving people the choice and the option, even when you're dating. Let's take aside the marriage part. You have people, and even people that marry do that, but you have people who are dating, right? They feel because they are not married legally, they can have multiple girlfriends and not letting the other person know, say, oh, I have a serious girlfriend. They think it's okay. But give a person the choice and be open and honest and say, okay, you know what? Yeah, I like you. I would like to kick it with you. I would like to date you. I would like to talk to you. I would like to whatever your terminology may be. But I have a girlfriend or I have a boyfriend, and let that person say, okay, yeah, I won't go all with you. I agree or I don't agree.
All righty. So we want to move on to our next question here. Why do people cheat? And sometimes there's a caveat. People say, oh, people cheat because they're in an unhealthy relationship. People cheat because they're not happy. People cheat because their partner is cheating and all of that. Let's just go around on this topic. I want to hear everybody's point of view on why do people cheat. We'll start with you, Janae.
Well, again, cheating also can be defined in different variables for different people, right? Some people, when they're in relationship, cheating to them is somebody actually being intimate with somebody with another person other than their partner. Some people, when they're in a relationship, cheating can be okay, you're on the phone with this person, you emotionally connected to this individual. Cheating can be, oh, you're giving somebody else's money. So it goes with the same for why people cheat. There are different reasons why people cheat. Is it right? No. But people have different reasons as to why they cheat. Some of the things that you already mentioned, whether it's because they lack the attention that they're getting from the spouse, whether it's the man or the woman, whether it's because, the sexual piece is not to par, whether it's because some people want to validate who they are, right? Oh, I still got it. I still got it. 10 men want me, or 10 girls still want to talk to me. They still think I'm hot. So I still got it. So it can be a lack of self-confidence. And then all of a sudden they're getting all of this attention and they don't know how to handle it, or they think it's cool and they go ahead and do it. So it can be a multitude of reasons why people cheat.
All right. Iname?
Yes. People cheat for different reasons. But what I want to state is that we each need to own what we do and not blame someone else.
Mm-hmm.
If you're unhappy, if you're not satisfied, voice that. If those things cannot be fixed, and it cannot be fixed by one person, because let me tell you something, when you think you're not satisfied with some man or woman, honey, that man or woman probably not satisfied with your ass too. So
Facts.
I don't know who died and made you king or queen.
Mhm.
So
Exactly.
so own your own shit. Own it.
Okay.
Own it.
Okay.
And so when you think about the reasons why, before you blame somebody, look into you first. Assess, why am I making this decision? Am I unhappy? Why am I unhappy? Maybe I'm not liking myself at that point and need validation.
Great.
So start with yourself first before you start blaming somebody else.
Thank you, sister. We're going to end with you here.
First of all, I think you were talking to men, and I think we do collect anecdotal data. We ask our Cambodians, am I correct?
No, I said, I wasn't. I said, why do people cheat? I didn't say
No, look at what other men.
I was talking to man and woman. Oh, yeah, shit.
What many teachers said about you? We can ask questions in the moment.
Yeah.
We can't answer that answer. We take it as facts and we move on.
Great point.
On a serious note, on a more serious note, look, I don't think cheating happens in isolation. There are deeper root causes, and sometimes maybe we're not equipped to dig deeper into why those things happen. But I really think that with everything my two sisters have said, that cheating happens also sometimes because of societal norms. And it goes back to my definition of cheating. If the both of you understand the four corners of the agreement of the relationship, or if the multiples of you, if you understand that this guy or this woman is going to be cheating, and you walk into that she's going to have multiple partners. If he or she do have multiple partners, that's not cheating, because you understood that, you saw it, and it was communicated to you beforehand. Mm-hmm. However, if you represent yourself differently, and then the person buys you or enter this relationship with you based on the representation you just made, then anything outside of that is cheating. But it's also the thing about power imbalance. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to take it back to Liberia, because you're asking why people cheat. And Anime was speaking about that. I think, when she talked about, there are people who think that I'm the big boy in the community. Look, I'm speaking today with a blessing of having had aged, but we did some of those things where you thought societal expectation of you as a guy, if you have multiple girlfriends, you're the dude. Everybody talk about you. Everybody think you're balling. You're balling, you're chilling, right? And so societal expectation, when you make a lot of money, you got to have all these goddaughters all around the places you do. You think that's how you show you big boy, you're balling. Now, if those goddaughters understand that there will be other multiple goddaughters, then there's no longer a cheating, right? Because they understood that getting into it. But look, here is one last thing I would like to say. Sometimes we just have competing traditional values. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what my sister Anime was speaking about. She said, when you're a Christian, I'm a Christian, and we agree to this. Sometimes you have these competing traditional values, and we don't take the time to dig deeper into what those conflicts will present and we get into these relationships, and then everybody start living their own traditional values, and we start saying, oh, somebody is cheating. So why people cheat, I think that sometimes it's insecurity. Sometimes it's trying to live up to the hype, whatever that hype is, whether it's societal expectation of you, or boys will be boys or girls will be girls, because there's some girls that do that too. I think all of that though comes from a deeply psychological foundation, and that most times we are either incapable or unwilling to go deeper into to find out why we act the way we act when we cheat.
Yes. So I just want
to let me just add one thing to what Cece said. And again, Liberian people can take out their switch and decide they're coming to beat me, but I would we would give that example. When a society creates a situation where they make, quote unquote, the man a prize that everyone must then compete to win, you therefore create these deep-rooted social environment that perpetuates, quote-unquote, cheating. Because now you have one element that functions, as Cece was saying, as the prize. And so every other thing around there must compete for that prize. When you create that kind of situation, you have the power imbalance.
Yep.
Attention seeking.
Yeah.
So when you're people seeking and people pleasing, that's what it is.
All right. So let me just so those of you just joining us, want to say thank you for joining, thank you for watching. Please share the podcast. We're also watching the feed for questions that you may have. I see Cece is in the feed already. Thank you so much, Cece. But I wanted to say here this evening we're talking about cheating in relationships, the impacts it has, and how can we build healthy relationships around, not only in our community but in other communities, because there are intermarriages with different people. We want to be able to build that. I want to say here, just give a little statistics. Yesterday I did some research, and what I found is that in 2017, men was on a high rise of cheating than women, according to the statistics that I look at. And this statistic is just from, I must say, yeah, because Cece already warned me. The statistics was from the number of cases that was reported to 3 different agencies about cheating. So when you look at it, there's no clear-cut statistical analysis on cheating. But you know how they have this cheating agency that follow relationships? So based on their data, in 2017, men were cheating more than women. In 2025, the numbers that they've given is there's 43% of women that cheat and 48% of men that cheat, based on the report. And the margin of error makes them to say that there are women and men, they're cheating equally, 50-50. Based on the other thing that I talk about, let me do the statistics, and then we'll continue the question. The other thing they said was that most time people that cheat, they cheat with single people. So the married people will cheat with single people. Maybe they don't want the responsibility or whatever, and so they'll do that. And then another thing that I found to be, and we can talk about that, was that they had 3 places. Where do people cheat the most? Church, work, or in an organization? I'm going to ask the 3 of you. I already posted it, but they said these 3 things, these 3 places: church, work, or in an organization. One of them is where people cheat the most. I'm going to ask Cece, saying he's the only man. Where do you think people cheat the most?
First of all, I think in church is fellowshipping. I don't think that's cheating at that
point. I just had a feeling you were going to say that.
I like that. I like that. So you go to church, you don't cheat, you fellowship.
You fellowship.
Fellow believers.
Yes,
Lord have mercy. Oh, fellowship in there too much. That fellowship in there is too much, oh.
Yes.
At that point, you just bring your brothers and your sisters keepers. But look, first of all, on your data though,
Yeah.
I do think that because of COVID, women were so bored that they started reporting more that they were cheating. Before 2017, they were underreporting, but everybody was in the house together now. You just tell what it makes them. They say, I gotta go and cheat. I gotta confess. They think I'm working out.
Yes.
Your story. Your analysis.
Yes. So what I'm gonna answer where people cheat the most.
I think it's workplace. It's the workplace.
I think the office. Look,
so that is what they said. The three agencies that I went to, they said most of the reports on cheating, people cheat at their workplaces. So when you have your husband at work working those doubles, those hours,
y'all don't have customers in some of marriages I can travel for work here, and I can work less with big y'all.
Those 16 hours.
But
what the lady said was, she said, and the reason why she was equating it to that, she said, we get the report most times is because they're cheating with somebody they're working with. It's because when you look at in the day, she's saying the day if you're working,
that's who they spend the most time with.
That's who they're spending the most time with, who's getting to know them. And then you're there, your husband or your wife at home, that person coming to sleep, you're not giving them patient. When they go to work, that person is sweet, sugarcoating and telling them all the names. So that I mean say that is statistics. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, so one of the things we've gathered from talking here is in more or less some of the responses is that cheating is a choice. So when you now go and make that choice and you break someone's trust, how does that cheating, how can we speak to the fact that, and of course, maybe we know people who have had their partners cheat on them. How do you think that they're affected? How is a person affected from a spouse or a boyfriend or girlfriend cheating? Anybody can start.
I think what we as humans, what we fail to do is to recognize what is our hard line, what would break us, and what we can live with, and what we can forgive. Sometimes because we don't define our hard line, we decide, oh, okay, well, those things happen. He said he's sorry, or she said she's sorry, so we are coming to forgive them. But in reality, that is a breaking point for that person, because that once that trust is broken, and what we also fail to realize is that we as individuals, we all bring trauma. We all got baggage. And we don't look at those baggages and how those baggages affect the way we think and the way we operate. Now, if you have issue of somebody cheating on you before, or maybe your father had another family somewhere, and all those things are your baggages. Cheating, when someone cheat on you or break your trust, it may have a greater impact than we are willing to acknowledge.
Exactly.
And then we go ahead and say, okay, I forgive the person. When deep down we can't get past that cheating. So what end up sometimes what happens is then we end up looking for solace somewhere else. We go looking for somebody to alleviate our sorrow, or we completely shut down and that person is operating under but she forgave me. But then you completely shut down. So then the relationship is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So we need to define what our hard lines are. If your hard line is, I cannot live with someone who cheats, when that happens, pack your satokas and go somewhere else and try to see what you can do for that. If not, you're doing yourself and the person a disservice.
Okay. Jande?
You know, a lot of times, I will piggyback on what Indomie says. You have people who've been in relationships, whether it was marriage or dating, that were either cheated on. I think a lot of times when we get into relationships, we're not upfront of what it is that we expect. And I think it needs to be communicated. What you will tolerate, what you will not tolerate, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. And you lay it out on the table. Kind of like how it's almost like when you sign a prenup, right? You sign the prenuptial agreement. You let the person know this is what I would take, this is what I would not take. Don't try me, and this is it. This is my breaking point, and this is what I will walk away from. And then you have the people who we don't necessarily always communicate those things. Now you get into the relationship, this person probably had been cheated on in the past, right? So it's or they grew up in a home where the cheating is a normality. The pa cheat, the other uncle and that cheat us. They got no good male role model in their lives. And to them, having multiple women is a flex. I'm a big boy, we big up boy, we strong, we whatever, right? They get into a relationship with you. You have standard, but they can't understand why you have standards because this is something that they used to. And then they come into this relationship because they've been cheated on. They think it's normal. And then when they do it to you, you be like, no, I'm out the door. I'm not dealing with that. I don't want to deal with that. Then you have the situation where, like May said, you have the people who know very well. It has in their deep down to their deep down soul. But they will act like everything okay when it's not okay. They
Yes.
want to shove it under the carpets and they don't talk about it. And what happens in those relationships is that then they build resentment
Yeah.
towards that person for the hurt and the pain that they caused. So cheating causes deep emotional trauma. And in my opinion, there is no way to get over that trauma. I have friends that's been cheated on. I have a good friend who thinks that, my husband, as long as he out there, he's doing his thing, as long as I don't hear it, I don't care. There got people that accept that because they think it's okay because they don't see it or they don't hear it, it makes it okay. But you're not okay. But then she was sitting around and can't complain to her, girl, I don't want to hear it. You say, well, as long as you're not hearing anything else see me, I don't want to hear it. So it's part of those things that we have to accept the emotional trauma of it all. Then you have the people who's been cheated on and they do it to other people, or now because their trust is broken from their past relationship, they now meet someone who is actually good to them, but because they're so broken and they're so traumatized that they
So,
have
so
lack of trust.
let's keep that piece because
Okay,
we want to
okay,
ask that question about
all
in the
right,
end after the cheating, what happens? How can people move
yes.
on? So, Sissy, I want you to come in. I want to acknowledge the fact that Sissy's wife and daughter are watching,
Oh,
and they made a comment. So, I want to make sure.
Yeah, because they had to let me know that I better be mindful what I say here.
I trust you, my brother.
oh, I see it. Okay.
Those are intimidation tactics.
No,
I'm not going to get
never,
coming back.
never.
But I am not intimidated, just like I
Not,
live in my
not
house. I'm
at
the
all.
only man
Not at
in my
all.
house. I'm the only man on their show, so I'm used to this life. Um, but look, I think we go back to that definition again. Just to pick up on what my sister Jandy was saying. If a lady is saying, as long as I don't hear about it, I'm not concerned. They've agreed that if they don't hear about it, their contract has not been broken. So whatever that man is doing out there is not cheating. If she didn't hear about it.
But is it just a coping mechanism?
That's the point I'm going to get to. Because we have a lot of unhealed people.
Yes.
Hmm.
We have a lot
And hurt people.
of unhealed people walking around pretending that they're healed, believing that they're healed when they are not. So
Hmm.
cheating for me, the way I look at it is, especially in an African setting, because our relationships is not just between the husband and the wife or the husband and the wives, it's between the husband and the wife's family and the wives and the husband's family, and we're all surrounded by this thing. When cheating happens, it doesn't just hurt the two people or the people that are involved in it. It hurts the people on the periphery, those people who are surrounding the relationship. It can be all of the in-laws, right? And that also affect whether the person who's being cheated on decides to accept to stay in the relationship because of the pressure. It can either be societal pressure, it can be community pressure, or you're in a church that say we don't accept divorce, or you're in a family and you don't want to divorce because then people will be spoiling your name around, like the unnecessary caveat that Glendy had to put out here because of societal expectations. And say, oh, I'm not married because if I say, then why are you giving us? And she had to say, 29 years. Because folks expect you to stay in that 29 years marriage, even if you are living in spite of yourself in that marriage. You are there because of other people. You're there because of the children. You're there because of your family. You're there because of the church. You're there because of society of you. And so that affects whether the person who's been cheated on makes a healed and an informed decision to say, I accept you back and we can work on this. But if I'm only accepting you back because I'm worried about my name out there and the expectation and everything, then I'm very much unhealed. And I go back to what my sister Enome was saying, that then you go back and you find somebody else, and now you're cheating also. Now you just got this whole cheating fest going on.
So
right?
I want
to just to add to this conversation, because we're not talking about the financial aspect of what cheating does. How that's why women and children in Africa are the poorest, because in a lot of time, money is taken out of that home and spread all
you might account for the border.
I will come in to say.
All right, okay. The financial aspect, because usually it's not just your money you taking to go be queen or king of the hill. You taking my own hard-earned money too to be the queen and king of the hill.
You taking out of my cheering muff. You taking out of my cheering muff.
So how about the one that are bringing the money back in for the Godpa and Godma? Are bringing money income? Actually bring the money back. So they
trap where you're sitting here. We're not going to get in this trap. So Dr. Clinton, Dr. Villa Clinton, someone that I admire.
Most I don't work that way. The
I do too.
So Dr. Clinton is watching, and I appreciate him for watching. I love him to death. He's asking, can cheating be categorized? Dr. Clinton, in my research, yes. So what are the things, some of the cheating they talk about? Physical cheating, emotional cheating,
financial
online cheating, micro cheating. Then they talk about financial cheating, opportunistic cheating, and revenge cheating.
Cheating for benefits.
Yes.
Benefits cheating.
If you are getting the benefit of cheating, but if you are supporting a lot of getting to go to school, I think you're supporting the economy.
Are you kidding? So, Dr. Clinton, yes, I think
you are an investor at that point.
Okay, but let me ask the question too. Let me ask the question. Maybe one day the doctor can come.
Yeah. So what we would do is
even if it's categorized, what's the point? It's still cheating.
Yes. But
no, I don't think
there are different levels of hurt at that point, right?
Oh, the different level. Oh no, you know what? Let me call you wife. Go by a different level.
So what we will do is this is the social aspect of the cheating. We will take this up a notch with Dr. Clinton, where we're going to go to the healing portion, and we'll do another show where he's going to talk about. We got a lot of Liberians psychologists and counselors will now come and tell us, can anyone heal from cheating? But let me just add my little. I think the worst thing from my experience that a woman can face is to have been in a relationship with cheating and not heal. I've been there. It's a tough thing to heal. It's no kidding. It's a tough thing to get over cheating. It's not easy. And like Jenny, sometimes people cover it up. Sometimes we pretend like we're not hurting. And we want to act, we want to be macho and say, oh, all is okay. You know, I'm fine. No, you're not fine because you've devoted yourself to that person. So we have to be able to get to the place where when we're not able to confront some things and we need help, get the help you get. But there's no point in you hiding and lying to yourself.
Pray about it. Take it to the Lord in prayer.
Yeah, that it beats it all.
Yes. There's no point in
for themselves. Go to church.
So the other question we want, I mean, we've been here for almost an hour now. We got about a few more questions, but this has been good. This has really been good. The next question I want to ask is, can a relationship ever, so your husband and wife, you're cheating is in the midst of your relationship, your boyfriend and girlfriend, and maybe you're promising engagement or whatever, and then one person cheats. Is it ever recoverable? Can they recover? Is it infidelity? Can you truly recover from infidelity? Let's say we're going to start with you.
Well, I'm not going to say never because I've seen some people, at least according to them, they moved on. But, you know, I'll give you an anecdotal story, right? Because you're talking about a woman, but as a man, the way our minds operate on us, when your partner cheats on you, the part of you is dead. Because I had one of my buddies whose person cheated on him. We're having a discussion. He still wanted her back. And then he asked a question about the mechanics. When you were with him, man, you were doing the other one. Yeah, I said, bro. I said, bro, you want to know that one there because you had one, you're not hero, bro. So then leave that part alone. He wanted the play-by-play of the process. Right? But back to a serious note, it comes back again to if you're being cheated on. Like, you know, like I like what my sister said. When you're in a relationship, when you start a relationship, you draw a hard line. My wife is watching this, she's watching. When we first met, the one thing I told her was that I don't deal with cheating. Like that's my one thing we're not messing around on. Like you do that, I'm out. I'm out. I can't heal from that. I'm not going to pretend it. I'm out. Like you can do 500 other things we can go through. I can get mad at you for 1 week. I don't talk to you. People talk to me. We'll be fine. We're good. But that I'm out. Right. And so if somebody cheats, what was the reason for them cheating? Did they just feel like the big boy, big girl that they can do it? Did they feel like because they got power, they make more money than you, and so they can do it? Did they feel like, you know, they have to live up to societal expectation? Because if you know why they cheated and they come back to you, have they worked on that? Because if you haven't worked on that, if you're only telling me you're sorry because he got caught, not that you're working on the reason that you fell in the first place, and you just have this ego and you didn't work on it. Do you need therapy? Are you working on it? Are you going through therapy? But I think I want to flip this question a little bit, because why do some men not cheat? Or why do some people not cheat? Because everybody gets opportunities every day to cheat when you walk out of your house.
Yes. Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you.
And so what is important to you? How do you look at your family? Right? I've always told, so I'm putting it out here. My wife and I, we were in London. She was in Liberia. I was here for a long time before she joined me here. And folks used to say, my man, you say you're passing around like this? I said, everywhere I go, I see how people see me. I see them see me, see them. I say, I go my business. I get in certain situations, I know that it will lead to a situation I can't control. I leave, I go for my business. Because I've come to a point where I realize that I have way too much to lose.
Yes.
By people attaching infidelity to my name. I can't do that. Besides the fact that what I have personally, I also have a wife that I think deserves to be on a pedestal. And by me going out and having, you know, a 2-minute encounter, yes, that will damage her 11 years she's put into this, and I will follow her even after she leaves the relationship. Folks are still going to say, oh, that was the lady people that do cheated on. I think it's unfair to her. So that's for me, and I know a lot of my colleagues, that is why we don't cheat. And so when you cheat, in order for the person that you cheated on to heal, you have to do some deep soul searching and find out, why did you cheat? And sometimes you cheat with somebody less desirable than your wife or your husband. Right?
You better preach.
That psychological issue, that deep trauma that you're not aware of. Because don't just go tell somebody's son or daughter, I'm sorry, when you know when that same situation presents itself, you will do it
again. Yeah.
So, but that's the thing we don't, I think that's where when we say we're sorry and we go to the church and the church say, oh, forgive 7 times 7, and then we move on. But that woman or that guy, when represented with that same situation, will do the identical thing again and come back again and say, I'm sorry. So for me, I much want to flip this on. Why do some people not cheat? And if you are a cheater, what leads you to cheat? What is the psychological thing you're dealing with? Have you conquered that before you go apologize? If you haven't conquered that, then tell the next person when you meet them, I am not okay with exclusive relationships. I'm okay with open relationships.
Don't get in a relationship, period.
Open relationship, and then you're no longer cheating. You can live your life the way you're supposed to live.
Absolutely. So let's I think we kind of agree with Sis's question. I want to say, do we think, compare it to growing up with our parents, and I'm sure that my dad, I don't even want to say I'm sure, he cheated. So and with a lot of people, but I want to say, do we think nowadays, because we have social media and we're able, do you think, and Ineme, I want to go to you, do you think social media has contributed to the number of infidelity cases we see, or to how people have become cheating spouses, cheating boyfriends, and cheating girls? Do you think it's because of 2025 and the social media era, or is this something was just inborn, but now we can see it?
I mean, it all depends on what environment are you talking about. Because when you brought the example of our ancestors, that was a societal, you have to deal with the societal impact and the societal element there too. And they didn't have social media, and look what happened. So I don't know if social media has anything to do with it, because there's a lot of people who are of a certain age not really on social media. I mean, so I wouldn't put it on social media. I will go back to what Cesar said. We walk around with all of these baggages and trauma that we don't address. In addition to that, majority of us Liberians grew up in this society that you were talking about, that lived. I had this conversation with someone, and I said to that person, I said, how do you think that young boy or young girl felt when they were made to go sit in a man's office for hours waiting for $10 to buy a shoe because they couldn't go to his house because he was married to someone else? That kind of trauma, people don't realize what those things do. Or when you're in school and you're sitting and you're looking across the classroom and some boy or girl that look just like you, and you're wondering, and you're 7 and 8 years old, and you're wondering, what the hell? Those kinds of things. So society, and again, Liberian people can take out that switch to beat me, but we're talking about an issue based on our environment and experience. Yes, people cheat in America, and those things happen in America too, because when people die, you find out they got 3-4 different families somewhere. Even the Americans, But I say that to say, I don't think social media has made it worse. I think it has amplified it, because now people gather and go on Facebook, and then they talk about all the business and everybody else's business. So it has amplified it, but I don't think it has made it worse.
Okay. All righty. Jande, let's I don't know if you want to add to that, but let's go
Yeah,
to
I think social media have increased the risk of it. I think that it makes it, the exposure is there, the risk has increased, but ultimately it is about self-control, and it's about your responsibility as an individual to give into that or not give into that. And it's about yourself, your beliefs, and it's about your right to recognize and see the vow that you make and how sacred that vow is to you. So like every day somebody get hit on. You get hit on every day. But I have this thing that I always tell people, just because somebody say you say you fine, don't mean you go to the traffic to go speak with them. Right? It's about self-control. It's about when you're married or when you're committed, it's about that commitment and you sticking to that. Because temptation is everywhere.
all right. So let's face the question. And Dr. Clinton, I will be calling you. Because we're gonna look at the clinical aspect of this and how we heal from it. So we'll do a follow-up show on this. He said the question that he had asked before, he said, my question was not to negate the impact of cheating, but to gain insight or awareness so as not to minimize the behavior due to lack of awareness correctly. And I think that was a good question to ask, so that people know that there are different types of cheating,
Right.
and it's not just one cheating. So beautiful. He said, I think social media have increased the rates of exposure. I think so too. I think the fact that somebody, your husband does something to you or your girlfriend or boyfriend, and that you can just run there and just talk, but then also that you're exposed to so many people that come in with a hi and a hey, you're beautiful, you're so pretty, all of those things.
But if you widen the market, you get more buyers. You get
Let's
more,
see, share. Let's see, let's see.
and that's what Facebook does, right? And I always laugh at people. I think one time I posted on Facebook, I said, I see them sending their lady Judy, they think they can bring me down with you. Yeah. Sure.
Oh, isn't she cute?
People. Yeah.
That's all right. I thought I would do that. Hi!
You say hi. Simply say hi.
I can take my phone and go with it. But I was joking. I said some people think that because I talk a lot and I'm always on people's issue that it would find something like Judo can say hello to me and then record and then laugh. But here's what happens. The minute I see you and your profile picture is a half naked picture, you send me friend request. We said I read my friend request is that, and I'm touching it. Because you already started marketing to me where this conversation is going to go. You say hi, I say hi. You say hi next time, I say hi. The third time you say hi, I don't. You're not responding no more. You gotta tell me something. I ain't like hi.
But you better let me know that too many highs for me, right?
Yeah, we don't do that. But to the point here is that Facebook has widened the market. It's a global marketplace for cheaters now, or for the propensity to cheat. Right? My mother-in-law here. They can be blocking the people on my Facebook page. And they see it 2-3 times.
I know that's right.
My wife can take my phone and go to blah 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 and done. But that's because we have that understanding. My wife and I, we understand that, and that's what some of my friends didn't understand. Right? My wife and I share everything, including our contacts and everything. I take my phone and leave it here and go to work, and don't worry about who's calling me or what's. She can take my phone and eat it all day. My mess. I have nothing to hide because again, I have to be both emotionally and informationally available to my wife.
Woo!
Right, and so I'm not.
Adam Gender, you're listening. Adam Gender, you're listening.
Let me tell you what is freeing, what is liberating, because I didn't get to this
exactly.
Place. I used to be that too. I used to be that guy, yes. But you get to a place where it's so liberating when you don't have to worry about open my phone. Who calling me on my phone? I can answer right now. I can't answer right now. Anytime you call me, my phone won't speak up. It's not you come inside, my wife can pick it up and can say, oh yeah, person, yeah, take it and go. I got nothing to have because I have to be emotionally, financially, and I'll tell you this one thing, then I stop. When my wife was in Africa, I was in America, she knew exactly how much money I made. She knew what my bills were. When I got to pay my bill, she knew how much money I was left with before she joined me in the US. You do those things, you are so liberated, you are so free. It's so free because I ain't got to worry about somebody come to me. The first part, I ain't get mad, I get married, and my wife will know because now you stand there, I ain't get expecting that no more. So you come and do free thing, right? And nobody want to do free thing, right? And so to come back to that point about the social media, we have to be mindful because if every time I post on social media, it's about the crisis in my home, people see a crack.
Yes.
And the thing that
You're allowing that.
But anybody who knows me, if I'm not laughing at people on Facebook, I'm posting my web picture.
I know my brother, me, my one are talking. I said, me, that man, I love it. I'm talking.
If I cannot elevate my relationship,
Woo.
I'm trying to let you know that we got no space here.
Yep.
We got no space. Because we make people think that it's because we get up in the morning. Sometimes the way our post they can let people know say our Jude ain't all that.
Wrong.
Then you see something like you said, I mean, eat nothing last night. I'm gonna get you something. Then they tell people something. What are you and I you not know because I post on Facebook. So
yes.
because, but it, and then one last joke because you're talking about Facebook and whether it changed anything. One of my buddies and I was talking and said, man, suppose the day they just have DNA test in Labrador. Some people never thought it was Banana and they were real down because probably not belong to them.
Oh, Jimmy. Oh my God.
Let me read some comments here. Prince Apostle is saying, I think social media has become very sexual. However, the responsibility of self-control is needed in this generation.
Exactly.
And he said, yes, all profile, that's the use to say, he said, all profile with showing backside is being blocked.
Yeah, but that's only
but then Alvin, hold on, Alvin Kennedy is saying most men, and I don't know why he's saying most men. He said most men have 2 or 3 phones.
Oh, Alvin. Really?
Okay, go ahead, Ineme.
So, yes, all these naked women, but why are these men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s posting those naked girls on Facebook themselves? Have you seen some of these grown-ass men stories? But I don't see no women, some of these grown-ass men in their 60s. Look at their stories, and they be putting all these girls and butt.
Viewers discretion advised.
Right? Y'all put a chair into bed. We beg y'all put it into bed.
Any man past 45 that stays cheating deserves the Nobel Peace Prize.
Any man past 45 should not be reposting a woman because of her body.
True.
You're all behind. Nobody want you anyway. Cause you yourself, you yourself. Go check your PSA.
Yeah.
Go check your PSA.
One more comment from Prince. Apostle is saying, my brother, in 2025, infidelity is expensive.
I tell you.
Faithfulness is cheaper and better. I love that. Let's just do 2 more questions, and then I think this has been a very interesting conversation. We've learned a lot. That I like the last way Sister answered because it leads us into the healthy relationship, the benefits of not cheating. That's what I want us to talk about now. Is that yes, we heard about cheating, why people cheat for different reasons. There are different forms of cheating. We also came on to the fact that cheating is a choice. People make different choices, and it's whether it's right or wrong. And then sometimes too, I think Janice struck a point where when you're coming into a relationship, put everything on the table. What you're going to accept, what you're not going to accept. I also explained that cheating is difficult for a woman. No woman will say they know that their husband cheated or their boyfriend cheated and that they're okay with it. They will just be pretending and lying that it hurts. But cheating does hurt. So let's go to the place now where we recognize this choice. we see that a lot of people are cheating, whether it's a ordinary relationship or in marriage, there's infidelity. How do we now try to keep healthy relationships and do away with cheating? I think Sissy already started, so we'll start with Ineme and then Shana and then Sissy. How do we build and keep healthy relationship void of cheating?
Well, not just cheating, but how do you build healthy relationship in general? You have to start from yourself. We go back to our trauma, and these traumas don't occur just in relationship. Sometimes we experience it at work, we experience it at different places. So we need to work on ourselves. We need to understand what makes a healthy human being: mind, body, and if your spiritual soul. Once you are healthy, once you recognize that you have issues you need to solve, because nobody's perfect, that you need to work on yourself, you need to bring yourself in alignment. Recognize those things, but also recognize what your values are, your hard limits, and improve your communication ability, so that when you meet someone, you make sure that that person value system aligns with your value system.
Absolutely.
Not just by talk, but that person is walking those value systems. Then the openness in the communication, being able to be honest with your partner and yourself, those things create healthy relationship. And we all need to work on ourselves every day.
Sister Shana is not here. You want to go ahead?
Oh no! Oh! Hold on. I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, my camera for a little bit. I was responding to another email. But building healthy relationship. I always say love is a beautiful thing. When you are in a relationship with someone that loves you and you love them back, it's a beautiful thing. When you have that open and honest communication and respect, mutual respect for one another, actively listening to the needs of each other. Of course, definitely putting God first in your relationship, sharing your goals and aspirations, being happy for your partner. If your partner said, "Oh, I won't go back to school," be that supportive husband and or wife to encourage them. You have people in relationship, believe it or not, married or not, that are envious of their spouse because their spouse is ambitious, because they want to, oh, how, when I, you won't keep going back to school. How much degree I want one? But instead, just because you're battling something with yourself or because you won't go back to school, it doesn't mean you should knock your partner. But being able to support your partner goals and dreams and aspiration collectively together, I think it's beautiful. Those are the reasons, some of the reasons to build or how you can build a healthy relationship. Being committed to one another and actually, again, not just saying the words, but acting on those words, showing the other person, being selfless, compromising, coming together and say, okay, let's compromise, let's do this, let's do that. Those are ways to build a healthy relationship. And trust,
Absolutely.
of course. Trust is very important. If you cannot trust somebody, it will not work, no matter how you try. If the trust is broken, it's one thing that is hard. You can go to therapy, but in the back of your mind, you will always remember that that trust was broken. One of my favorite quotes is by Maya Angelou. People, oh, now I'm brain fart. You never forget how people make you feel. You will always remember how people make you feel. And that's so valid and that's so important, especially in a relationship. If you're in a relationship where you're being mentally abused, emotionally abused, and constantly put down, it messes you up. It's a psychological effect to that messes you up, that cannot be rebuilt easily, or maybe not at all. So
Yes.
it's important to recognize all of those things and collectively put them together and trust one another and respect one another and be mutual and compromise. And of course, again, God.
Yes. Sissy.
I think everything that both of my sisters said carries a lot. But I think, on the issue of the trust, I think it's very important to think through yourself. Am I creating a room for doubt? Because I got some of my buddies that said, man, they cannot trust me. By the time step out here cheating now. By the time I'm going to fish it, cheating now. Then my question always is, what have you laid out that gets all to that conclusion?
That part.
Here's one thing that I always do, and when you talk about celebrating one another, like everybody here, everybody on Facebook know my wife celebrates me more than I even celebrate myself. Like I would get something before I even, she would be before I put on Facebook, she's shouting it everywhere, hearing about it. I'm going to math conference to go, a bunch of nerds going to talk about math. She will follow me, right? If I know that being alone, my wife and I and our kids are all we got. I can't leave them alone and go somewhere else. I'm creating an emotional gap.
Stress.
So if I have to go to conferences, if it's instant, we drive, we go. We stay Duluth about 3 days, or the other place at the conference. They're in the hotel, I'm at the conference, I'm checking in and out. Everybody who knows me, from the governor when we ran campaign to senators, they all know my wife. I've personally introduced my wife to every circle that I'm in. At my job site, all of my co-workers know my wife because she's been there several times, right? Because folks are saying that infidelity happens a lot at work. So what do? I make sure everybody at work know my wife, and they know my wife, and my wife knows them, and they have some connection. It is not that she's emotionally fragile. It's just me trying to build that wall so I don't create that room for doubt.
Yes.
You have to make sure that in your mind, whoever you are with, you have to put in your mind, you have to be cerebral about it, that wherever I met you is not where I'm going to leave you. And so even if it's with education, you meet somebody, try to see what they're passionate about, where they're falling short. How can you push them and nudge them to you have to see something within that person that they themselves don't see. Otherwise, you shouldn't be in a relationship with them. If you can't see in me what I don't see, then why am I with you? If everything you see that why I see, then why are we together? Why are you
But here's the thing. Individually, we grow, right? We grow as a person. So why when you in a relationship, why do you want that person to be stagnant? You know?
So I met you here, you stay here, I'm growing. Everywhere we go to call on me, I shake my jacket, I stand, and you stay there, you stay there, you stay there. Then why? Why? Then this is not a partnership.
That's right.
This is not a partnership anymore. And so what happens is that you have to be intentional about saying, yo, I met you, I see this in you, this is what attracted me to you, you're kind of falling short on it, nudge them a little bit. And here's the last thing. Everybody has a board of directors. Everybody. Those are your friends. Some board of directors are legislative. They will write all the laws. I can't do that one, don't do that one, I can't do that one, don't do that one.
They're telling you all out.
And some of them are advisory. Right? When you get in a relationship with somebody, you have to know what kind of board of director that person answers to. And you got to determine if you wouldn't live in there or not. Because we all have people we go to talk to. My wife got a bunch of people that they're in their chat room all day talking. I pop and I come downstairs in my basement. When I ready to talk about politics, she leave me and go do a different thing. I'm not ready for politics again. But we know, she knows the chairman of my board of directors. I know her chairwoman, her board of directors. We know that we all have advisory boards, not legislative board. The only people who legislate in our relationship are the both of us. Not even our children. Not even our children. I tell people, my children don't come number one in my life. They're done. And people don't understand that they're done. My wife comes number one in my life. And that is the one person that we legislate together. I love my kids to death, but they are not number one in my life. And so when you get back to what we're saying is, at the end of the day, if you don't marry somebody that you can support to elevate, or that can support you to elevate you, then you're not in a relationship.
Beautiful.
Find something else to call it, but it's not a relationship.
Beautiful. So anyway, we can.
Someone just wrote, Prince William said, sometimes insensitive doesn't need a reason. And uh, to go back to what Cece was saying, you always hear people say, "Oh, I'm not responsible for that person's happiness." But a long time ago, older lady told me, "Yes, nobody is responsible for your happiness, but also you shouldn't be responsible for creating a situation to cause somebody unhappiness." And people do that.
When
People
I
do
laugh
that.
at you, says I'm sorry that I had to laugh. It's Cecia's wife. I have to read this comment. She says, let me see it here. She said,
When
she
you're
said, when
generous,
you genuinely love
Aha.
someone, you will never want to do
Want to hurt?
anything to
Yeah.
harm or hurt them. So
that's
is
true.
it with cheating partners who pretend to love one another, but they aren't in love but lost. Wonderful topic. Me, I can just block inappropriate friend requests.
Black them, sister, black them, black
And
them, and
that's
report them. Don't just black
exactly,
them, sis. Black and report them.
and that's
Black
Black
them
them.
exactly what I'm
and
saying.
When I go to my Facebook and sometimes they look at black, I'm like, who black people? Oh, shit. My secretary have
Miss
my
Lord
phone.
is saying here, Miss Lord is saying, who are you listening to in your relationship means who you're listening to in your relationship means a lot. It's okay to find a mentor in your relationship, but make sure that they have been in a union for more than 30 or more years.
Oh, shit.
But look, some people
Brandon,
be
one
in
more year, come on,
relationship.
45. One more year, yeah, stay.
Yes.
Some people be in relationship for 30 and more years, and it's not a
And
happy
they still can't give you,
relationship.
yeah.
Thank you.
So,
Mm-mm.
And you still don't want to be like them.
yes, we've been on here for at least an hour and 15 minutes. I want to say thank you.
No, we
Um,
started late. We
Yeah, we
started
started
late.
listening. That's why I said I want to say thank you for joining. I
The
think we
topic too
had a
juicy.
really healthy discussion. I think there's some great collaboration with this
Yes.
team here. So we'll look for other topics. We may talk about satisfying each other in a relationship. Me, I get husband. I
Oh, you get boyfriend.
What happened to the Gina boyfriend? The man with your brain.
I want brother what we I want brother what was it? My boyfriend, you got boyfriend.
Or Gina boyfriend, the man with her
my
dreams.
Gina boyfriend is still in the
They
he's still united.
They
But
take a
anyway,
demons who can
yeah,
walk
my
by
Nicodemus.
night.
You know,
Up by night, he can walk.
you see, it's late now. If that data, you might get to see it.
How about you rushing to get us off the
Not
call for because you tell
necessarily.
me
But what advice? So let's take this last question around. What advice would each of you give to someone who's struggling with infidelity? They know their spouse or their partner is unfaithful, is a cheater, who's struggling. What would you say to that person? Maybe it a woman or be it a man. We'll start with you, Jeanne.
hmm. I would say it goes back to your again, it goes back to what you are willing to take. Because a lot of times, even if I tell you something or advise you, you only the saying goes, you only know how tight your shoe is. But I will encourage you that if that is the place, one struggle for me, I think, is abuse. When you're being especially physically abused, in my opinion, it's time to walk out instantly. Um, but if it's cheating and you're able to handle that cheating, and it's your choice to stay in your marriage for whatever the reasons may be, whether it's for financial, whether it's for children, whether it's you just, a lot of times women will say, oh, we put this amount of time in it. You invested all this time, so you can't walk away easily. Only you know your situation, but I would say, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Make sure it's not because of societal reasons. Make sure it's not because of pressure from family and friends. Make sure it's not, don't stay in it because you lose yourself and your worth so much that you cannot recover from it. So that would be my advice. Get the necessary therapy that you need, whether it's one-on-one therapy, whether it's therapy with your partner to try to work things out if that's what you guys choose to do. Do the necessary things that you're able to do to build yourself up again and to recognize and realize who you are and do the things that you love for yourself again. Learn yourself again. Know yourself all over again. And do what makes you happy, whether it's going back to school, whether it's opening a business, whether it's forming like-minded women like yourself to empower you and encourage you. You know, all of those things are important. So that's the best I can say for you or
Thank
whomever
you.
that's listening.
Ineme.
The I think the most important thing is to sit in yourself, meaning do the work on on yourself first. That cheating is almost like somebody dying. So you go through a whole grieving process. Go through whatever process you need to go through. Grieve if you need to grieve. Because at the same time, as Janet says, do the therapy, grieve, because at the end, you will make that decision. And hopefully, it will be the decisions that are right for you. Because sometimes in those kinds of relationships, that's the emotional abuse that comes into play. And that emotional abuse can be damaging too. So we are hoping that however you navigate it by being kind to yourself. Don't sit there and blame yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to the other person too. But work on you. Find out exactly what it is that you want and do what it is that you want. But don't stay there because of the children, because you're afraid to face the future alone. And that's what keep a lot of people, man or woman, in bad relationships, because they're afraid to face the future. They're afraid to be alone. Me, I like to be by myself. Hey, the way I let myself, hey, it's too funny. I'm my own best friend. Be comfortable with yourself and hopefully do the work.
Yes. Maria is saying, before we go to sister, she said, don't stay because your parents never left. Wow. That's another topic for me for
Right, right, deep,
yes,
deep.
that's deep. That's deep, Maria. Sometimes we watch things happen. We see that our parents suffered, but then we circumvent the same thing they went through.
The trauma.
We're doing the same trauma they went through. We're sticking to it because you think they're gonna stick there. Don't do that. So don't stay because your parents never left. That's a whole
Different topic. A whole different topic.
It touched my soul.
It's deep,
that's a whole different topic because our parents were under a lot of different circumstances than we were under.
Calm down. Whatever.
Let's go. Caesar, go ahead.
It was not no deep, it was shallow.
It was deep, brother. It was deep, deep.
It was shallow. After that, our papa then would get DNA.
Deeper than monorail, it was deep. That comment is deeper than the monorail.
So give your advice to your
on a more serious note, I think when you have been betrayed, betrayal it damages your soul. It sometimes take away it affects your self-esteem. It affects so many things about you because when you've been cheated on, people ask questions, what is wrong with me? What is about that person? And sometimes I come back to what did I do wrong? And I think it's okay to feel pain, right? It's okay to recognize the pain and show pain, especially for men who, in our society may not supposed to cry. And if your wife or your girlfriend cheat on you, you start crying, men start laughing at you. And so we hold it inside and we become unhealed people. And we cause a lot of chaos. We affect a lot of other people who did not have anything to do with what happened that got us that way, but because we did not heal. Because societal expectation of us is that we don't cry or we don't show it. Anybody cheated on me, like I've heard some women even say that, but I want that one man that go by anybody said that you jump. No, we know you're not healed. Because we see you talking about it every day over and over. We see you when they yell at something for no reason, and the children are taking the brunt of it, and your co-workers are suffering it. And so allow yourself to feel the heat, to feel the pain, and don't rush healing. Don't rush healing.
Yeah.
I got healed in 3 days, fine. That's me. They could take you a whole year to get healed. Don't rush the healing process. And to the person who's offended or who's betrayed the trust of the other person, take responsibility. Like don't gaslight somebody.
Yeah.
You know,
And then you need to get over it now.
yeah,
What happened?
I think they happy say, if I say, well, one night, can't let me not, I go not answer for. Don't
That's a
gaslight.
narcissistic behavior. That's what those people are.
Don't
Narcissists.
don't gaslight somebody.
Yeah.
You have to do some internal soul searching. What led me to do that? What led
I
me
need to
to
see
do
the
that?
other coming edge.
What led me to leave a whole human being at home and go for a 2-minute thing? Or what led me to be emotionally unavailable to this person at home that I can't talk to? And what led me to be financially unavailable to this person? You know, and then I'll close with this one thing. There are a lot of us who are, and I'm going to say this to men, because I know what women can wear and keep their side money on the side, different thing. But
Oh,
there's a lot of men that I know whose wives don't know how much money they make.
mm.
That I think is even worse in my mind
That
Yes.
financial cheating.
than the
That financial
sexual
cheating.
part of it.
I agree. I 2000% agree with that.
I agree.
That is just bad, right? There are men who had money in places that their family don't know
Hiding
about.
money from their, yep.
Who takes that money? Every time I negotiate a contract, I sign it, I go to a new workplace, I'm negotiating a contract, I'll tell my wife, get the first offer they made. What do you think? Get the next offer. Before I sign it, she will say, yes, sign that contract, take that offer. You know how much money I make. And that's stopping me from buying
There
the
you
car.
got brother for my sister.
But not stopping me from buying the clothes I want to buy, right? She know how much money we make. She know how much money comes into our household. So we make financial decisions together. So she understands that you can't buy that Louis Vuitton purse because that's the kind of money your husband making yet, right? And so she too understands that I'm not taking money from our household and supporting another household.
Thank you.
So I'm not creating that room for doubt to say, oh, I wanted to make that money somewhere else, supporting another household, doing another thing. But you create a room for doubt when you are not transparent. And especially when it comes to money. We African men, we lack transparency so bad when it comes to that. So to close out, I would say
Financial cheating.
heal before you move. If you're going to move on, heal before you move on. If you're going to stay, heal before you stay. Because if you unhealed people cause a lot of damages. That's what I'm going to say.
Hurt people, hurt people.
And
Mhm.
Jaya is saying, do not settle for what people may say, because at the end of the day, people will still talk. Your
That's
mental
right.
health is very important. Let me
That's
say
right.
thank you to you, Ineme, Jande, and Sisse. We will
Thank
do this again.
you. Yes.
Cole could not be here, but I'm sure we've learned a lot about cheating, and no one should be in denial and say, oh, cheating doesn't occur. Yes, it does happen. And take your time to heal, take your time to understand the situation you're going through, because it's you that's feeling it, it's no one else. So we'll just go around for just to say closing comments, and then I'll bid you all farewell. So Ineme, and thank you to Mr. King for letting you, and Mr. Brewer, and also for Mano who's watching here. Thank you for your partners for allowing us to use and hear your experiences and share it with us, with this single woman here this evening. Thank you so much.
Oh
She had
Lord.
to put it in.
Oh Lord.
Oh,
Go ahead, Ineme. Closing comments.
closing comment is that every day I work on myself. Keep working on yourself. Keep healing. Keep aligning yourself, because happy people are very attractive.
Mm. Mm.
Yep. Jane?
Look, this was not only an eye opener. It was educational. It was funny. It was good. It was a good conversation. Thank you to the people that are watching. Thank you for all of the comments. Just again, if you don't want somebody, Be there. Don't get that hard time. You now want somebody else out there wanting.
Thank you. Leave
Leave them alone.
Leave
If you
somebody
are,
child alone.
yeah, if you are broken, go and seek the necessary help that you need. Stop causing other people pain, hurt, and heartbreak. And like my family in the May said, work on yourself, know yourself, love yourself, in spite of who you're with in that relationship, even if your partner is not putting in that love into you, you do it for you. Love on yourself, learn yourself, find your peace, find your happiness, find your joy, and don't give a flying fruitcake. Oh, your dog gonna cuss. Look at him. Don't give a flying don't give a flying fruitcake because as the person saying in our comment, people will talk. I mean, they talk about Jesus. Do what makes you happy and keep on moving and keep on pushing. Thank y'all again for having us. It was a pleasure.
This will close us all.
Well, it is a very good topic, and it was really good being on with you, ladies. I I do a lot of fighting online with craziness, but this was a very good conversation. And if you can't find a reason to compliment the person you're with every day, like you see me when I read it, that my country soda upstairs. I'm at the top of the oil. We can foam together. We can dead it dishes. Every time I put them on the top of we can dead it dishes together. Look, I love my wife so much.
Oh,
I will just sit down and pick up the phone and just pull a picture and say just because. Just because. If I don't love you that much, why am I taking this torture? To live with another person, you are continuously managing conflict. You're determining, should I talk right now? No, then I want I want 3 days. No, if I want that important. You're putting skill of preference. Like, do I prioritize? No, you know what? Today, no, I'm gonna watch TV and let it be. No, today we're having this conversation. So you must really love somebody to continuously do that. Having said that, I want to say thank you to the French Papier Association. The waterproof
Adam Gender Association.
The waterproof Yomo users. We did well today. We came here, we conquered, and we did the
You are well represented. He represented you well.
You see, Glenny, my husband said it was his pleasure to allow me.
Good.
Aww.
Good. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching. To all of you who have watched, we certainly will do this again. We'll try to follow up this episode with professional people so that we can also suggest to people who are dealing with, like Dr. Clinton is always available when I reach out to him. I'll see if I can get 2 additional counselors with him so we can also talk about the help that people need when they're dealing with cheating and dealing with infidelity. We don't just want to do a topic. Look, we're on a journey for healing. So we want to be able to heal as we heal. We want everybody else. I cannot be able to talk about this because I've been through it and I'm over it now. So I'm in my healing stages. I know that people are also struggling with it and they're pretending that they're not hurting, but they are. It hurts. And so thank you everyone for watching. We're going to close out with this, and to Mana, you win everything, man. Teresa, I love you. Love you, love you, love you. Just block all the people that you see. Block them.
Sister, block them.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Oh my goodness.
I said, baby, can I talk to you for a moment? Seems like I'm really feeling kind of lonely. Yeah. No, I can't wait